Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys okay, and today we are going to read creepy horror Reddit stories. This story is really horrible, so relax and grab a snack, and put the video in 1.25x for better experience. Before we get into this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. The channel goals is to get 100 subscribers before the end of another month, and I am sure that we can do it. Anyways, let's get into the creepy horror Reddit story. I've seen and heard horrors in my 20 years as a nurse, but nothing compares to today's patient, a little girl with Tourette's. At this hospital, NHS staff suffer abuse every day. I'm no stranger to repugnant words or even physical assaults. I'm no stranger to Tourette's either. There are very few mental or physical conditions I haven't seen over the course of 2 decades. Earlier this morning, in fact, I would have quite confidently told you I'd met every mold and manner of human. I hadn't. Tourette syndrome is a misunderstood condition. It's a tic disorder, and tics are, in most cases, small muscle convulsions. Only about 1 in 10 sufferers deal with coprolalia, the involuntary vocalization of obscenities deemed socially inappropriate. What most people misunderstand is that sufferers do not choose the words they utter. Their brains spit out the most taboo word or phrase in any given situation, which causes them immense distress because such vulgarity or cruelty evidently doesn't align with their personality or beliefs. I say evidently, but the nature of the condition wasn't evident to my colleagues when we were entrusted with the post-surgery care of Jessica, an 8-year-old girl with a severe tongue laceration. She was rushed into the hospital by her flustered and red-eyed mother, Liz, a suspicious woman who spent most of the morning looking over her shoulder. "That girl is an absolute monster," said a nurse called Linda. "She just called me a slur." I was empathetic. "I'm sorry, that's horrible. Tourette's is a nasty thing, but I promise you the girl didn't mean to say that to you, Linda. Do you wanna..." "Yeah, no shit, but it doesn't excuse her racism. Tourette's is like alcohol. It lowers the inhibitions and tells you what a person really thinks, reveals those dark inside thoughts we want to keep hidden." Lord help me, this person is supposed to be a medical professional, was my immediate thought, but I took a polite tact aloud. "Jessica is not a covert racist, Linda, because there was no intent behind the words she used. Her brain convulsed and vomited out the thing she didn't want to say. She called Brian a homophobic slur earlier. "I don't care," interrupted Linda. "I'll find someone else to do this shift with you because I don't want to be around that vile creature. I'd muffle her if it were up to me." I was honestly glad my colleague left given that final admission. I was devastated for the little girl who kept apologizing with teary eyes and a quivering lip after every expletive or vile word she uttered to hospital staff. Jessica's tongue had been severed widthways to a halfway point, requiring sutures to knot it back together. She was playing with scissors, and I managed to save her just in time. I brought her straight here, Liz had explained to doctors. Now, given Jessica's injury, I understand her flustered demeanor, but there was something off about the story or the way Liz told it. It's my duty to report suspicious circumstances, so I told the mother to wait outside whilst I spoke to Jessica, who watched me with doe eyes and quavering lips. "Is Mummy telling the truth?" I asked her. Her rogue tongue answered, "Fat bitch." I smiled softly to let her know it was okay. The words hurt, of course, but they had no meaning. It was Jessica's pain that hurt me more greatly. She was nearly weeping. "Sorry." "No need for that. Do you often say sorry to people for the things Tourette's makes you say?" The girl nodded. Then I asked the question I really wanted to ask. "At home?" No response that time. But I pressed. "Is that how you really got hurt today, Jessica? Did Mummy get upset with you?" "No," she said before clasping her mouth to muffle her troublously telltale tongue. Jessica had the beginnings of a bobblehead juddering about as I took her along a bumpy road of question after question after question. I had to do it. She was clearly wrestling with a secret. I suddenly heard squabbling past the entrance to the ward, and I clocked Liz arguing with a man in the corridor. Then he threw the door to the wall and marched inside. "Who were you?" I asked. The man stabbed a finger at Jessica, who seemed to clench a little in response. Her father. "Come on, Jessica, we're going home." The sad little girl in the blue hospital gown got to her feet without so much as a moment's hesitation, and her meek mother met her at the end of the bed to take her hand. I heard shuffles from nearby beds, shielded by curtains, as curious patients were clearly eavesdropping on the commotion. "Let's just have a chat first," I implored, as Jessica was led away from me, as she was led away from me. "We need to at least do a discharge assessment to discuss a care plan for the coming weeks." The father smiled at me, but it was a faux smile like the apology that followed. "I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am. I'm sure she's been shouting the whole hospital down, hasn't she?" "She's been fine," I said firmly. "Of course she has," he sighed. "I think she'll be happier once she's back home, away from all these people, you know? It's not nice for them to hear her." I scowled. "It's not nice for her to have to deal with the condition." The father narrowed his eyes, seemingly cross with me for daring to challenge him. "Right, well, I think we'll take it from here. Thanks for your help. Time to get the girl back to her proper room." "Trapped, trapped," screamed Jessica as she pulled away from her mother's hand, limbs convulsing. The girl looked at me in abject terror, and I realized that had not been a cry for help, but a tic. Jessica hadn't wanted to say a thing. This time, she had not involuntarily said something offensive, but something dangerous, something in her eyes that was the worst possible thing to say in that given moment. All this was confirmed by the cold way her father looked at her. "Tourette's," he explained to me through gritted teeth as he walked to his wife and daughter. "Come along, you two." As I watched the parents take their little girl away, I was similarly possessed by dangerous words that jumped from my mouth of their own volition. I knew it was dangerous, but I had to ask. "Who tried to cut off your tongue, Jessica?" It wasn't a tic this time. The girl was brave enough to answer. "Daddy." The man narrowed his eyes at her, then at me. I whimpered fearfully at not only that, but at Jessica being dragged out of the ward by her mother. She knew what would come next. Of course she did. Liz had come into a stiflingly hot hospital ward with a turtleneck jumper up to the chin, forever adjusting the sleeves, seemingly afraid that too much of her skin might show. She was hiding something, just as her daughter had been, until Tourette snatched the reins. I was midway through processing all of that as Jessica's father thrust me against the wall, elbow against my windpipe to stifle the scream trying to get out of my open mouth. With his spare hand, he slipped fingers into that open mouth, then took hold of my tongue as if it were weed to be rooted out. "I could get rid of this, and your hands, and your eyes. You'd be alive, but you wouldn't be able to find a way to tell a soul what you just heard." "Please," I tried to choke out. He shook his head. "Here's what will happen now. I will take my daughter away from here, and nobody will ever see her again. Nobody will ever hear her dirty tongue again. She might as well not exist as far as you're concerned. Remember that, or you might stop existing too. Okay?" "Help!" yelled another patient behind a closed curtain. "Somebody get in here!" He may well have saved my life because Jessica's father unhanded me at that moment and ran after his wife and daughter, scooting them out of the room. Hospital staff rushed into the ward moments too late. The security officers searched for Jessica and her parents, but they were gone. I talked to the police earlier. They sent someone round to the family's home, but there were no cars in the driveway and nobody in the house. They'd fled. What terrifies me is that my shift ends in a few hours. An officer assured me I'd be safe, but they're hardly going to appoint around-the-clock detail to me, are they? Nurses receive violent threats every day. There's nothing special about this in their eyes, and there's no concrete evidence, as I was told, to incriminate Jessica's father just yet. I would argue there's a wealth of evidence that something terrible is happening. That man wanted to silence his daughter by taking out her tongue. He was no doubt interrupted by his wife halfway through the assault. She managed to get her daughter away and to a non-local hospital, but he found them. He took them away. I fear this time he will finish the job. Above all else, I fear he'll come back for me. If this story disturbed you, that's because it was never just about Tourette's. It was about control, about silence, about a child whose own voice betrayed the secret she was too terrified to tell. And the scariest part, she didn't lie, not once. Somewhere out there, Jessica is still with him, and if he was willing to silence his own daughter, imagine what he'd do to anyone who stands in his way. Let me know in the comments, do you think he'll come back for her or for the nurse? If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next horror Reddit story. And if you want more videos like this, click on the video coming on screen.